Hey guy, Future Key here. I actually recorded this entire video and then realized when I set my microphone, I set it to the one in my webcam and not the microphone I'm holding. So instead of sounding like this, it sounds like this. Not great, I know, but it's still a good video. I still put a lot of work into it, so please have a good time. And now, on to the video! Welcome to the end of the Descendants trilogy. I was debating getting dressed up like I did for Zombies 3, but then I realized that there's actually a fourth movie coming out sometime next year, hopefully. So I guess we'll save that for Descendants 4. Released 4 years ago on August 9th, 2019, to pretty decent reviews and reception. However, I do want to focus on the fact that it's been 4 years since Descendants 3 and we still don't have a Descendants 4. Because all of the other movies came out 2 years apart from each other. But I mean, it's not much of a stretch to assume that this movie has spent more time in development due to the passing of Cameron Boyce 1 month before the release of this movie. There is some controversy surrounding whether or not they should even continue with the production of Descendants 4, because you don't really have the Descendants without Carlos. Without Cameron. And for some situations, I do think recasting is fine in situations like this. It wouldn't be disrespectful. But in my opinion, for this movie, it would be pretty weird to continue the franchise without Cameron. No spoilers, but this movie does a good job at bookending the Descendants franchise, and going along with it any further kind of seems like a cash grab. A sentiment that's worsened by the fact that you now have lost one of your main cast members and you still want to continue the series. I mean, it kind of just seems like you're going to end up giving yourself some bad juju. That all being said, we should just have an open mind for it when it does come out. And worst comes to worst, we can always just hate watch it. That seems to never go wrong. Descendants 3 opens up with an aerial shot of Mal narrating exposition because the directors are very creative. We then go straight into a musical number because the writers are very creative. On the Island of the Lost, it's VK Day, or Villain Kids Day. This is a term that's said quite casually throughout the entirety of this movie, but it's never said in Descendants 1 or 2. VK Day means that they'll be taking 4 more kids from the Island of the Lost and giving them a chance to live in Auradon. You think they would have streamlined this system a bit more by now, right? At least a year has to have passed between now and the first movie, and they're still only doing 4 people a year? The song that's playing right now is titled Good to Be Bad, which is a song about how it's good to be bad. The song itself is kind of ironic though, because they're actually just singing about how privileged they became while living on Auradon. Like, they do say it's good to be bad, but they also say don't steal, and make sure if you do steal, give back to the community. These two characters are Mal and Evie. Unfortunately, they're not dating. They're just best friends who are also roommates. I know I also made that joke in the Descendants 2 video, it just really pisses me off because they'd actually be a good couple. The first VK is Dizzy Tremaine, who actually got an invite at the end of the first movie, but they wrote themselves into a corner when they ended the last movie with that, so just forget that happened. The other 3 VKs are characters we haven't met yet. The first 2 are Squeaky and Squirmy Smee. They, you know, actually I don't really know what their deal is. These two kind of just stand around. They don't actually have any significance to the plot, and neither of them have a speaking line, so do your best to kind of just forget that they exist. Are these kids even old enough to be in school? And lastly, but certainly not least, because the camera has been on her for like 50% of the movie so far, is Celia Fassler. She's the daughter of the Shadow Man from Princess and the Frog. Reportedly, she's a bit of a dick and needs to take a couple of kindness classes. After a quick title card, we're reintroduced to Ben Florian, the king of Auradon. The fact that he's the king doesn't actually matter. All you really need to know is that he's the boyfriend of Mal. Boyfriend of Mal seems to be his actual full-time job, as right now he's even trying to keep Mal from being paranoid about the inevitable return of Uma. While Auradon is celebrating the arrival of all the new kids for VK Day, Ben decides to make the day about himself by proposing to Mal. Something I'm not sure he should have done much earlier than this or much later. It's pretty unclear how much time has passed between Descendants 2 and Descendants 3. When I looked it up, I've got answers ranging from 6 months to a year, but even between Descendants 1 and 2, that timeline is especially foggy. Hey listen, when you know, but we know for a fact that these two have been together for less than 2 years. Mal and Ben were both 16 in Descendants 1. In fact, we can be sure of the fact that Ben just turned 16 because he was just becoming king. So that means at the very least, these two are at least a little under 18 years old, right? The point I'm trying to make here is that these two either aren't old enough to be getting married or haven't been together long enough to be getting married. And once I figure out the exact reason I'm supposed to be mad, oh boy, am I gonna be mad. I forgot my silly earrings. I just realized, hold on, this is unacceptable. All right. Alright, okay. Balance has been restored. We have Kirby in this ear, and we have Totoro in this ear. So, things are back to normal. Everyone is happy about these two finally getting married, except for this living root canal. This is Audrey. Although she wasn't important enough to be included in Descendants 2, she's important enough to actually be the main antagonist of this movie. Quick side note, her plotline of spite towards Mal was actually buried in Descendants 1, but they bring it back here because, I don't know, they don't have any other characters they could possibly use. But her entire existence is confusing to me because she really never had a storyline in Descendants 1. And once again, she wasn't actually present in Descendants 2. I think she was vaguely referenced by one character directly before the third act climax. But Audrey wasn't the only character to have her importance reduced to atoms in Descendants 2. Our next character was made just as irrelevant. This is Doug, and apparently is hot now. Oh, he's hot now. Doug is the boyfriend of Evie, but they really only mention that when it's convenient. Audrey is mad about Mal being queen because she's racist. She doesn't like when good things happen to villains. And of course, the only person that she can't be more racist than is her grandmother. If you think that black people can't be racist, you've either never watched Descendants, or you've never been to a holiday dinner with black grandparents at the table. Audrey's grandmother is Queen Leah, the mother of Prince Aurora, or better known as Sleeping Beauty. Queen Leah really hates villains and their offspring. When we return to the non-racist characters, we get to meet Carlos and Jay. They make up half of the original VKs, but get about a fourth of the screen time. Mal talks to Audrey, and Audrey reminds Mal of the time that she actually drugged Ben. Personally, I think that's an event that we need to put more heavy emphasis on, but before Mal can even get the chance to clap back, the Thanos limo shows up to take Mal on her way to pick up the new VKs. Man, I really wrote that joke like 5 years too late, didn't I? After all the miners pile back into the limo, we get to hear more of Grandma being an old head.
The only reason they should be opening that barrier is for putting Uma back in, not letting more villains out.
Like, really? This is something a racist relative would say. Now let me ask you this. If I said that the next 3 minutes of this movie consisted of Hades shoving his hand through a barrier that should realistically just be cutting him in half, forcing Mal to turn into a dragon that pushes him back into the barrier, but not before he saps a good amount of magic energy out of her body, would you believe me? No? Well, I mean, that's what happens. I don't know what to tell you. There is so much about this entire interaction that is just so dumb, but I'm only gonna mention two for the sake of time. Firstly, why is Evie's first instinct to stop the car? You have 4 children in there. Don't stop. Keep going. That nigga is trying to kill you. Secondly, Mal specifically says that she can feel Hades drain her magic energy, and she just ignores that? She even specifically states that he sucked it up into that stone he's holding. That would be enough evidence to say, hey, we should probably take that thing back from him. They shouldn't have magic on this island. Audrey is having a moment from Mal becoming queen, and because this is a musical, character development can only happen through crying and singing. Lucky for Audrey, she's about to be doing both. This song is called Queen of Mean. The song focuses on how Audrey is at her breaking point, and she's played nice for so long, and they don't even let her be queen? You know, I gotta say, it's probably not her black half that is being this entitled. Not that black people can't be entitled, but because the black side of her is racist. Now that Audrey just can't take it anymore, she goes to steal this crown. But while in the middle of whatever this is, she's lured over by Maleficent's scepter and becomes evil. I'm sure she became evil when she broke into a history museum to steal shit. But yeah, this is the tipping point, I guess. You know, I gotta be honest, this song is kinda just okay. Sarah Jeffrey is an amazing singer, and she killed it on this song, don't get me wrong. But oh my god, the beat and lyrics are just beats and lyrics. They're so generic, and the audio mixing in this song, for some reason, is really bad. The beat sounds like it's on an entirely different plane of existence than the vocals. And at one point, Audrey throws her wand and it makes this loud metal clank, but it's so much louder than everything else at the moment. The next morning, Ben's father calls him for a meeting to discuss how every time they open the barrier, something bad happens, referencing Mal and Uma as previous examples. But Ben gets a call on his pager, where they let him know that Maleficent's scepter and the Queen's crown have been stolen. So Mal makes the immediate and executive decision to permanently close the barrier. Fun fact, she's the only person in the room who should probably have no input in this decision. Why is it, out of the previous and current king, the previous queen, and the headmistress of the most prestigious university in the kingdom, and as far as we know, the world, the girlfriend of the king, who, mind you, isn't even married to the king yet, is the one who makes this call? But even besides that, do you know what the real security risk to Auradon is? Having one singular geriatric security guard be the only person on duty to protect every important artifact in the kingdom. That's like if America had its government be run entirely by old people who have no idea what they're doing. Oh, Mal and Audrey both put this guy to sleep and then stole. But if we're being realistic, they probably could have just waited 40 minutes for this guy to fall asleep on his own anyway. Or Audrey could have come back next week for his funeral. Yeah, hate me for saying it, but I'm not wrong. Evie tells Mal that it'd be ridiculous to close the barrier. I just find it funny how this room is set up like they're having a TV talk show interview where somebody did some really problematic that they're trying to explain away. The next day, Audrey just kind of shows up at Mal's doorstep to deliver her some Alzheimer's and a Hunchback with same-day shipping. Audrey just makes Mal old and then she just dips. And you know, I respect that. Like, why fuck around for business you don't give a shit about? She's done what she came here to do. But this is a Descendants movie, so they have to go to the Island of the Lost to solve their problems. But this time, it's kind of stupid because they need Hades' ember, that thing that sucked Mal dry, the thing that took all of Mal's magic out of her. They need that, which is awfully convenient, isn't it? The only thing more powerful than the thing is the thing that was introduced in this movie. I know that probably didn't make sense, but let me explain a little more. In Descendants 1, the only thing more powerful than Maleficent's scepter was the magic wand. And here, the only thing that's more powerful than Maleficent's scepter is Hades' ember? What the f happened to the wand? Just use that. They also take the VK Celia with them because she was Hades' errand girl when she lived on the island. Don't get me wrong, I understand the logic behind that, but that is wildly irresponsible. The entire group decides to not tell Ben about any of this also. Why does this nigga always have to play third fiddle like he's not the one running the damn kingdom? Like, Ben legitimately never does anything wrong and he gets so much all the time. Because Audrey has nothing better to do at the time, she goes to crash Jane's birthday party of an undefined number. Seriously, I couldn't find like any specific age of her birthday, but that aside. Audrey also recruits Chad Charming to her side because he's a limp dick manipulatable simp. Audrey then puts all the partygoers to sleep. Once again, she kind of does this for no reason, but Jade manages to evade Peach's final smash by swimming in the enchanted lake. After Audrey departs, Jane relays all of this information to Ben and then hangs up on him before he can even ask if Mal is okay. You gotta think you're one mighty important person to hang up on the king like that. But isn't that also kind of just like a dick move in general? Your country is in a state of emergency and you have the audacity to hang up on someone? Like, you just told this dude that all of his denizens are in danger and you didn't bother to sit and ask what his question was? Mal and the gang finally make it back to the Isle, and Mal reverts to normal because evil magic doesn't work on the island. That is the point of the island, so that actually makes perfect sense. While on the island, we get introduced to Dr. Facilier. He's a hip black dad. If this movie was made by Pureflix or honestly really any other Christian movie company, nothing about his character would change. This is exactly what devout white Christians think that black people act like on the regular. After leaving the Facilier hideout, we run into the beautiful, charming, and ever-endearing Harry Hook. He's in the process of stealing the gang's motorbikes, which they left unattended and parked not only facing forwards, but in a straight line. I literally called it. I said this exact thing would happen in Descendants 2. I don't really care though, it's Harry Hook, he can steal whatever he wants. In my opinion, he can do no wrong. While Evie, Carlos, and Jay go to catch up with Harry's gang and retrieve their bikes, Celia and Mal sneak into Hades' lair, which consists of them opening this door with a comically large key and riding this very slow and actually very loud bike for like 23 seconds to reach the end of the line. I'm sorry, this is actually really annoying me. You're on a stealth mission. You could have just walked this. Like, Celia put on a helmet and everything for this. Why did she need a helmet? The thing is glued onto the tracks. You can't fall over. The torque on the bike is also so low that it probably took you more energy to use the bike rather than just walk through the hallway. After making their way in, they attempt to steal the ember back from a sleeping Hades, and they accidentally wake him up. This is where we learn that Hades is Mal's f***ing dad? What? Maleficent let this dude hit? Actually, you know what? I can't lie, Cheyenne Jackson is a bit of a dilf. Sorry, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. Not long after reuniting with their father, Mal and Hades end up arguing about why Hades abandoned Mal shortly after birth. The answer kind of boils down to, your mom is a f***ing dick. Also, you can't tell me you'd rather have Hades as your dad than no dad at all. Personally, if the options for me were having Satan as my father or growing up fatherless, I'd take being a pro Valorant player every day. This is our next musical, which I'm kind of ashamed to say is a bit of a banger. The song is titled Do What You Gotta Do, and it makes Cheyenne Jackson sound like Kid Rock. But not in like Kid Rock's good era, like Kid Rock in the I'm pushing 50 and I wrote an album called Bad Reputation about how being woke is ruining the country kind of way. But he does have blue hair, so he's probably a liberal anyway. This song is just about how Mal has really bad daddy issues and how Kid Rock Hades thinks that that's a good thing. He argues that him not being there made Mal stronger. Celia is also in the background for this whole song, which is probably awkward to listen to. Or maybe not, I don't know, this song's kind of a banger, so I wouldn't really be upset. Anyway, welcome to the club, boys. This song is my guilty pleasure. Come at me, I don't care. Despite literally being the incarnation of evil, Hades isn't actually a douche, and I'm not even sure he qualifies for the title of antagonist in this movie. In fact, he's pretty proud of Mal for trying to do the right thing and standing up to him to do that. So Hades hands over the ember without much of a fight. Mal also lets Celia know that the only person that knows Hades is her father is Evie, but she hides this because she's ashamed of this fact. Audrey shows up at Ben's desk and says she'll wake everyone up, but only if Ben promises to sign this pretty looking marriage certificate. Dude, what effect does Ben have on these women? I mean, he's cute, don't get me wrong, but like, Harry Hook is right there. He would literally treat you so wrong. That's a plus for me. I'm sorry, I'm talking to my therapist about it later this week. Either way, it isn't exactly much of a surprise that Ben isn't exactly chomping at the bits to marry Audrey, which upsets her. And she decides sleep is too good for Auradon, and she just starts turning niggas to stone. She also casts a spell on Ben, but that happens off screen, so it's probably something stupid, like turning him into a dolphin. I don't know. I love how magic in this universe is so damn convenient. It just does whatever the it needs to do it at whatever moment it needs to do it. Like, why does she have the ability to do this? I have no doubt that this is a thing that the staff is capable of. Don't get me wrong, it's a very powerful magic weapon, but I mean, they could have even just used the freezy spell from the first movie, but no, you just had to turn people into stone. It's not even so much that I think the magic is incapable of doing this, I just have no reason to believe that Audrey would know how. As the group leaves back for Auradon, Harry and Gil sneak out of the unbelievably inefficient barrier. This causes Mal to drop the ember into the water, where it's caught by Uma, who has the ability to teleport. Now, how the hell did she get there? Uma is the daughter of Ursula, and is played by China Anne McClain. One of those explains why she can turn into an octopus, but I'm not gonna tell you which one. Uma says she'll help Mal save the world isn't in danger by the way, but on the condition that she lets any kid that wants to leave the island into Auradon. Mal quickly agrees to this because she needs the ember pretty bad right now. Harry and Gil also admit to the group that they crashed all of the motorcycles, but that doesn't really matter because they make their way to Auradon without a problem anyway. So like, why write that into the script? Like, any of it, really. Had they introduced Harry and Gil here, it would have been much better and probably much more natural. Also, f*** Gil, I don't like him, and that's why he doesn't get a name card. No! I said no name card. After the gang catches themselves up on everything though, they make their way to the castle to find Ben. Because the scepter does whatever the f*** it needs to, Audrey knows that the gang is on their way. This greatly upsets her and she begins to domestically abuse Chad. But it's okay and funny because he's a guy. Though I couldn't say I wouldn't let her do this to me. Yes. Yes, both therapists. Back in the castle, the group looks for Ben, where they're cornered by animated suits of armor that they have to fight off in the next song titled Night Falls. It's a banger, but that's because it's essentially a reskin of It's Going Down. It sounds eerily similar to it in my opinion. Something else also becomes very obvious at this song, and that's that this movie isn't really about the villain kids as much as about Uma and Mal squashing whatever beef they have left. And that's perfectly fine, I like this plotline, but why bother wasting our time putting characters like the Smee twins in here if they're basically just gonna do nothing? What's the point of Celia? Like, all she's been doing is following the gang around like a lost puppy. She hasn't said anything important to the plot since she opened that door for Mal like 30 minutes ago at this point. They even went through the trouble of introducing her dad and making this whole set, but he doesn't have another line anyway, so why bother? Speaking of villain adults, where the f are the evil queen, Cruella, and Jafar? Like, they've been back to the Isle, what, 5 times now? I get that the kids don't have the best relationship with their parents, but the fact that we don't even see or hear of them at all is pretty wild. I don't actually think they're referenced in Descendants 2 or 3 at all. And once again, I'd like to reference it for the last time, but Jafar doesn't even seem to be a dick, so the fact that Jay doesn't reference him is so odd to me. This entire sequence is kinda stupid, but Uma and Mal get closer, and they save the day by making the suits of armor dance themselves until they fall, die, disassemble. I'm not exactly sure what the right word for this is, but the armor isn't moving, so now the plot can. The group celebrates for a while, but the celebration is cut short when the group remembers that they actually hate each other. Evie wants both groups to just get along, but mind you, not like an hour ago, Harry and Gil went through the effort of crashing all of their dirt bikes. Also, they kidnapped Ben like 6 months ago. Like, I get what Evie is going for here, but Uma and Harry being hot isn't enough to make me forgive them. It's gonna take a little smooch on the cheek, just one will do. This line also makes me feel a little bad for Evie.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
She said that like she meant it, goddamn. The girls go to search Audrey's room but turn up nothing, and the guys go to search outside the castle, and Gil and Jay find small amounts of homoerotic tension between each other. Something Harry laughs at them for, even though he looks like he'd wear a bisexual pride flag as a cape. I think the fact that Jay and Gil just start getting along so quickly is a testament to the fact that dudes just don't hold grudges. Put them in front of enough food and they'll just forget that they ever tried to kill each other. Back at the castle, we check in on the sleeping VKs and a sleeping Doug. Doug is currently under the same sleeping spell as everyone else, but because he's currently getting laid on the regular, he can be woken up by True Love's Kiss. The song that Evie is currently doing stuff to is called One Kiss. It's a certified banger that is just barely overshadowed by the weird stuff going on, and Zachary Gibson's absolute dump truck of an ass. I appreciate and really like the song here, but why did this sequence require a song, much less a pop song? Like, this feels like where we should be getting a ballad. Who cares? F it. I've bitched at this movie so much already. Just put the song on the goddamn playlist and move on with it. Returning to the important Audrey turned Ben into a beast, who has injured himself between when he first transformed and now. I'm not sure if I'm more upset that he's wearing makeup or that I was wrong about Ben being a dolphin. Deadass, would have given this movie a 10 out of 10 if there was a Ben as a dolphin arc. Carlos attempts to calm down the raging and injured Ben, who has quite a sizable splinter in his hand. Jane decides now is a good time for an ex machina as she uses a water gun filled with enchanted water to remove the spell that was placed on Ben. Fun fact, this is the first interaction Jane and Carlos have had in this movie, and their 4th direct interaction in the entire trilogy. Unspelled Ben now has a beard. And okay, he's hot now too, I guess. And the fangs! Lord, forgive me for the thoughts that are in my head as they have been placed there by the devil. But after saving Ben from becoming r/Furry's wet dream, this half of the group goes to catch up with the other. Mal thanks Uma, Chan gets domestically abused some more, and we're back to progressing the story. Audrey tries to trap the girls, and Doug, in the house, but by using their combined girl power, Uma and Mal are able to take down these wooden boards. That whole ordeal is like 40 seconds, but it's enough to make Uma finally trust Mal enough to hand over the ember. Ben also shows up at the same time, and I am telling you, once you get this guy in some normal clothes and he gains access to some hair gel, it's over. This isn't important and or relevant in the slightest, but Carlos's birthday gift to Jane is a necklace that says Jarlos, and that's actually hilarious. Jane, Doug, and Gil all go off to find the fairy godmother, while the rest of the group tries to find Audrey. I just think it's stupid that they bother sneaking around at all, like Audrey doesn't have a magic scepter that lets her see everything everywhere all at once. The group makes their way into the cabin, where they don't find Audrey, but they do find Chad locked in a closet. This is played for laughs in the movie, but bro is actually showing signs of abuse, and I have a hard time laughing at this. But that's probably just because I'm 21 and I'm woke and I care about men's mental health. Like, can you genuinely imagine if Chad was the evil one and he locked Audrey in the closet? Chad then runs off because he's happy to be free, and the group follows after him. Ooh, this is a bit depressing. Jane talks to her mother, who has been turned to stone when she needs her now more than ever, but oh, Fuck, can we cut to something else? Mal comes forward about lying to the group about how she said all the kids are gonna come from the Island of the Lost, when in reality she's shutting down the border forever and kicking all the villains back to the Isle when all is said and done here. When in reality Mal could just not do that? Like, none of this has even been legally solidified, and the conversation never even left the room. Also, remember Hades, the one who started this? Oh hey, look, he's a good guy now. And Uma, the one who caused the problem in Descendants 2. And oh hey look, she's a good guy. And what happened in Descendants 1? Mal was the bad guy. And whoop-de-f***-doo, she's the queen of Auradon now. You are 3 for 3 at the free throw line for making the villains into good guys. Why even bring this up? This information greatly upsets Celia, to the point where she calls Mal a chicken. Yeah, okay, I'm sure that with her psychologically, but not as much as her taking the ember and throwing it into the water. Really? The most powerful artifact in the known universe of this world, and its weakness is water? Your weakness is water? I'm not sure if I'm more upset about that or the fact that an 11-year-old girl just doomed a whole kingdom's worth of people to dying in their sleep because she was a little upsetty spaghetti. But it's not much a surprise the villains aren't exactly about helping anymore and they all dip. And even Evie is pissed at her about withholding this information. And I mean, yeah, that was pretty short-sighted of Mal to permanently close the barrier within 24 hours of the Hades incident. There is a benefit to being proactive and not reactive, don't get me wrong, but right here, you're just being rash. Just to add insult to injury, everyone except Mal gets turned into stone here. Why or how this happens, I have no clue. Like, could Audrey have just not done this sooner? What happened to moderately annoying them by attempting to board up their windows like an abandoned building? But of course, the emotional turmoil that comes with having all of your friends and family turned into stone causes Mal to break out into song, titled Once Upon a Time. This is a song about... I'm actually not really sure what the song's about. I think it's like Mal's journey as a person or something. Mal begs for Uma's forgiveness, but pretty much gets a f**k-off cracker in response. This, of course, causes Mal to not only break out into song, yes, again, but also have a flashback montage. Why do these happen so often in Disney Channel movies? DCOMs come out within like 2 years of each other. Do you think I just forgot the entirety of the last movie already? Anyway, pretty much out of nowhere, Audrey just happens to be chilling on the roof of the castle. But you know what? Let this little die. I don't care. She caused all this when she threw the ember into a bird bath. Uma and Mal pull some friendship is magic bullshit to reignite the ember, and what the is going on? Are we really ending the movie like this? Audrey gets unyassified and knocked out cold, and everyone else in the kingdom wakes up and gets reanimated. Cool beans, I guess, but in return, Audrey is actually dying. So Mal has to swallow her pride and ask Hades to wake her up, letting everyone know that Hades is Mal's father, which no one actually reacts to at all. I don't know why she bothered to keep this a secret for 17 years if it quite literally amounted to nothing. Actually, you know what? I do know why, because having Hades be Mal's father is super convenient to the plot. Celia admits that she wants to go back to the Isle with Uma and Harry, and everyone forgives Mal pretty much instantaneously for something that they were unfathomably pissed about like, what, 20 minutes ago? Hades is escorted to the island in handcuffs and relays his pretty in-depth and rational beefs with the kingdom. Notably that she just tried to kill everyone and she gets off scot-free because she was born to privilege. The same thing happened in Descendants 1, by the way, when she nearly doomed the entire kingdom and got off with a literal timeout. After a short Dilf growling session, Hades attempts and succeeds at waking up Audrey. Actually, wait, no, rewind that a bit. Why the did that just happen? This is 2 grown-ass men that just growled at each other and no one in the room is talking about this?
Dad.
Everyone just forgives Audrey, by the way. The exact thing that Hades mentioned was wrong with this system, and they just do it right in front of him. That's the government for you, I guess, being aware of the problems but doing nothing to fix them. But at least Hades and Mal get along now, and she gets to keep the cool blue rock too, which will certainly come in handy for Descendants 4. The movie ends with an engagement party for some reason. Audrey is allowed to attend. Y'all! She just turned half y'all niggas to stone and put the rest of y'all into an eternal sleep, and y'all just chilling with her? Mal gives a speech where she says that she can't be Queen of Auradon because that would be turning her back on the people of the Isle forever. Okay, fantastic. So she's finally taking a stance against eugenics. You know, this is a step in the right direction. So instead, she makes the decision to take down the barrier forever. Once again, that shouldn't be her call, and secondly, that's not a good thing. I know that we all think it is, and I like to make the funny haha eugenics joke, but guys, here's the problem. They actually succeeded at eugenics. They took all of the worst people who, for the most part, raised terrible children and put them on an island. Uma literally tried to take over the kingdom after like 5 minutes of being there. I agree, you should let people in, but do it over time. At least half of these mother would kill given the chance. There's no silly metaphor for the real world here. This isn't a metaphor of Mexicans immigrating to America or anything like that. These guys actually just suck. These people literally needed to attend classes on how to not be dicks. Either way, the floodgates are now open for all the residents of the Isle to come into Auradon. You know, also, I gotta say, there's nothing remarkable about Auradon. Legitimately, if they just didn't treat the island like yesterday's lunch, it would be a fine place to live. Like on the island, they don't have Wi-Fi or uninfested food. Give them an Olive Garden and Spectrum cable and they'd be set. This just seems like a great way to get Auradon overpopulated, just to have a mass exodus of people in a singular day. F it, I'm complaining too much. The movie's over anyway. You can tell because they're singing the song about how they saved the day by working together. The song is called Break This Down. I don't think I need to tell you what it's about. It's in the name. Guys, don't dance there. Uma is the only person who can survive a fall off of this bridge. Hey, let's go, dog, yeah, go dog, yeah, that's all my man right there, yeah, I fucking love that guy. Wait, how and when did they have time to make this? Mal saved the day, like, yesterday night. Okay, these two are definitely a little bit fruity. Bro is taking a gap year to see the world with another man? Yeah, sure. Oh, hey, look, more buy panic, I was running low on that. Hades also crumbs across the island to give the trilogy a good old send-off, and god damn it, stop using this font, it makes me irrationally angry. Okay, Key, calm down, the movie is almost over. All of our characters get one little final group shot and the movie ends. Are you serious? A China and McClane remix of Dig a Little Deeper. Really? Firstly, stop remixing songs that are literally impossible to top, and secondly, stop having China and McClane be the one to pick up the pieces for it. The Descendants trilogy went pretty hard, I'm not gonna lie, but that doesn't mean that this movie is without its faults, and oh boy, were there faults. I mean, mostly in the plot and character decision department, the two main antagonist decisions just kinda confuse me. Firstly, Hades does that thing to Mal, like, for what reason? Like, what did it actually do? It seems to have no adverse effect on Mal, and it doesn't seem to actually have powered up the ember in any significant way. We have no clue what this thing was like before, but Mal seems to believe it was already immensely powerful before it sucked her off. So why did Hades just take the opportunity to just leave the island? Like, he already soloed Carlos and Jay, why stop there? Take out the kids, make your way to Auradon. Okay, that's a little messed up, but my point is still valid. The whole thing just boils down to being theatrics. What was the point of making Audrey the villain? I wasn't a fan of this at the end of Descendants 1, but it seemed to be an indicator of the fact that they no longer harbor any ill will towards the other. Not to mention, it's been at least a year since Descendants 1, so why does Audrey even give a f who Ben is dating anymore? Okay, you know what, to be fair, Mal did actually steal Ben from Audrey when she drugged him. Honestly, people need to talk about that more. Those are the only major gripes I have with the film though. Just the antagonists feel a little weak and underdeveloped. But other than that, I enjoyed the films the same way I enjoyed the first two. I'm not gonna go super deep into the ratings since I've already rated the other two prequels to this film. We'll just go ahead and give this movie a 6.5 out of 10 on the critical score. About what we've come to expect from Disney Channel movies. It's not bad, but it doesn't really make itself stand out in any way. And I'm still pretty put off by all three of these movies ending with giant CGI monster fights. But on the fun score, I'll give this one a 7.5 out of 10. It's not bad, but in my opinion, both prequels are better if you're looking to waste 2 hours. I can't see myself sitting down on Disney Plus and choosing to watch Descendants 3 over Descendants 1 or 2. Anyway, thank you guys so much to my patrons. I made a Patreon to help support me now that school is back in and I don't have time to be uploading as much. It helps me keep afloat so I don't have to go back to working retail. Because if I went back to working, then you guys would be getting like 1 video a month, and that would suck. That was a dark era of HiKeiLoKei, and I don't want to return to that. Other than that, make sure you guys follow the socials, join the Discord. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. YouTube hasn't been pushing my content as much since I've been uploading less. No, I'm not like shadow banned or anything. This is actually just an annoying and studied thing that YouTube does. YouTube just doesn't like when you change how frequently you upload for some reason, so I'd appreciate any and all support I can get in these trying times. Oh, by the way, this is Charlie. It is Kennedy's only daughter. I didn't really know how to introduce her. Okay, She's Kennedy's only daughter that will be featured on the channel. This is as big as the cast is getting, guys. I can't take any more of this. Okay, I do love you, but you guys just drive me insane. I just made a Patreon. I clearly don't need another mouth to feed. I love you, but it's... You're the one who spent last month's check trying to 10-pull on Genshin. I didn't eat last week because of you.